So I wanted to talk about contingency provisions in California legislation. Bills in the California legislature sometimes contain language that makes the bill's provisions contingent upon some circumstance like funding or the enactment of another bill or the enactment of a constitutional amendment. And there are different types of contingent enactment language that has the purpose of making a bill's enactment contingent upon some other action that could take place. And these contingencies don't affect the enactment of the bill. Instead, they affect whether a program might be funded or whether a department begins operations. For example, in some recent legislation, we've seen things like this section shall be implemented only to the extent that any necessary federal approvals are obtained or that federal financial participation is made available. Perhaps in another one, we saw operation of this section is contingent upon appropriation to the State Department of Healthcare Services funds received pursuant to a federal grant. Or it could be implementation of the provisions of this section are contingent upon an appropriation in the Annual Budget Act or another statute for this purpose. So that last one is probably the most common contingent enactment language that we've seen. So, or contingency, and that should be distinguished from contingent enactment. Contingent enactment means the bill is only enacted if something else happens. These are contingencies that are provided. So many proposed programs or grants or expansions of service are dependent upon funding. So that seems to be the most prevalent contingency you'll likely find in California bills these days.